Okay, we're live from Atlanta. This is Stormwatch Atlanta's continuing coverage of what appears to be a severe weather event that is developing this afternoon across the southeast, including here in Georgia, where we now have a new active tornado warning that is in effect here for the Columbus area. We have the potential for a tornado now coming over right here just to the north of Columbus, and it's moving off to the northeast very quickly toward Waverly Hall. So if I lived in Waverly Hall, center portion of your home, away from windows, get into a basement, and once again we have a new tornado warning here. We're seeing strong areas of rotation here. We're in west central Georgia now, where this new tornado warning has been issued. Let's see if we can get some further information on this new tornado warning. This is the beginning of what appears to be a very active day across the southeast, including Georgia. And as we get the very latest information in, have a new discussion coming in for west central Georgia. We'll get to that momentarily, but let's see if we can get the latest information up here for this tornado warning that is in effect for the Columbus area. We have a possible tornado here just to the north of Columbus. So this is for Muskogee, Talbot, and Harris counties in west central Georgia until 2:15. Now, moments ago, severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was over Green Island Hills or near Phoenix City, moving northeast at 40. So these are moving very, very quickly, and the hazards of tornado and quarter-size hail. This is radar indicated rotation. Columbus, Talbot, Edgewood, Flat Rock, Highland Park, Columbus Airport, Cotulla, Avondale, Kenwood, Olive Branch, Rose Hill. Lots of locations in the path of this possible tornado. Again, this is radar indicated, and it's just at the north of Columbus, and it's moving northeast at 40 miles an hour toward the Waverly Hall area. So if you live in anywhere in these areas, please take shelter immediately, basement or the center part of your house. Again, we're here in west central Georgia, just north of Columbus. A possible tornado right in here just north of Columbus, and it's headed off to the northeast toward Waverly Hall at about 40 miles per hour. Okay, that mesoscale discussion for far eastern Alabama and far western Georgia, particularly in this Columbus area where we're at, is saying the tornado threat will increase here over the next several hours as we begin what is going to be a long afternoon of severe weather coverage. Thank you for joining us. We're live from the broadcast center here in Atlanta with continuing coverage now, it appears, for the rest of this afternoon of severe weather moving into and across the southeast, including here in Georgia, where we have this active tornado warning right now. And again, this is just north of Columbus, and it's going to be moving off toward the northeast toward Waverly Hall here in the next several minutes. So if I lived in Waverly Hall or Geneva or Cotulla or any of those areas north and to the east of Columbus in this warning that includes Harris and Muskogee counties, I would take shelter in the basement, center part of your house. We have no confirmation of tornado touchdowns at the moment. This is radar indicated, but again, a warning is a warning. This is a tornado warning, and this is going to continue until at least 2:15 this afternoon for about another 45 minutes. So this is for Muskogee, Talbot, and Harris counties again to 2:15. And some of the locations include Columbus, Talbot, Waverly Hall, Geneva, Bibb City, Edgewood, Flat Rock, Highland Park, Laurel Hills, Green Island Hills, Cotulla, Columbus Metropolitan Airport, Rose Hill, Olive Branch, Kenwood, Midland, and Avondale. And this storm will be moving into Upson County, which is actually covered by the metropolitan Atlanta area. And so Upson County, heads up, This possible radar indicated tornado may be headed your way here in places like Woodland, Thomaston, and Hannah's Mill, and maybe to the southeast of Warm Springs. We'll have to watch this area as well. We're watching actually a lot of areas this afternoon, as there is a tornado watch in effect, mainly from Atlanta southwest into western and southwestern Georgia, here over much of Alabama. Basically, in this general area right here, a tornado watch is in effect, some expiring earlier, but most of this here in Georgia is in effect until 8 o'clock tonight Eastern time, and I think this one over here in Alabama is in effect until 6 or 7 o'clock Central time. But we're here in Georgia, and we're zooming back in on the Columbus area, and we are using the Montgomery radar. That's the closest one, and still seeing some weak rotation in this area. Again, we are just to the north of Columbus, northeast of Columbus now, and so we're going to continue with this tornado warning for about another 40 minutes, as the tornado warnings are now coming fast and furious. A lot of them are in the Florida Panhandle at the moment. No further tornado warnings in Georgia other than this area down here around the Columbus area. But again, the rotation appears to be weakening right here, just to the northeast of Columbus. And so, but we're continuing to see these storms strengthen, especially to the southwest of here. So more storms may be likely as the afternoon progresses. Now, we had some strong thunderstorms that came across the metropolitan Atlanta area here within the past hour. And please don't think when that line came through that was it. That was just some strong storms with some gusty winds and lightning. And as we're continuing to get the very latest information here, we're now seeing several areas of rotation developing in the Florida Panhandle and in southern Alabama. So we're going to continue to watch this, but this one here to the northeast of Columbus still stays sheltered anywhere from Columbus to Waverly Hall or to Geneva. But at least at the moment, it appears the rotation is weakened some. Still some rotation right in here to the northeast of Columbus. And again, this is moving off to the northeast toward the Waverly Hall area here in the next several minutes at about 40 miles per hour. When these warnings are issued today, they're going to be coming into and across your area very quickly. So when a warning is issued, it is urgent for you to take tornadic precautions immediately. Again, the basement, center part of your house, away from windows. If you're in a mobile home, evacuate and get to a stronger building. If you're in a car, get out into a ditch if the tornado is nearby. If not, please go to if you have time, please go to the nearest strong building. Don't really like to recommend gas stations, but if that's all you have, but try to find some other. Personally, I wouldn't want to be in a gas station if a tornado is coming. That's just me. But find some sort of block, brick, strong building there to get into if you're evacuating mobile homes. Some mobile home communities actually have a storm pit, so get in there if you have a storm pit. That's obviously a great area to get into. We have new additional tornado warnings coming out for Dale, Geneva, and Houston counties in Alabama until 1:15 Central. That is the very latest warning there. And again, we're continuing to watch this sail to the northeast of Columbus. Still seeing a little bit of rotation here, but certainly not as strong as it was moments ago, but still stay sheltered until they cancel this warning. So we'll know for sure. that we're safe here. But right now, this storm is moving toward Waverly Hall. So if I lived in Waverly Hall, and especially north and west of Geneva, I would get into a basement, center part of your house away from windows, at least until this storm is passed. There may be some other ones behind this, so this is a weather alert day here. Severe weather moving into and across the southeast, particularly Georgia, Alabama, the Florida Panhandle, maybe portions of South Carolina later on this evening, and extreme southeastern Mississippi as well. So we're continuing to cover this, and we're here on Stormwatch Atlanta with continuing coverage of this weather event as a strong cold front moves across the southeast this afternoon. We have 60s and 70s ahead of this system, and 30s and 40s follow. So let's see if we can find okay, the Alabama warning is down here in the Dothan area, so it looks like we may actually have again, we're coming from the Montgomery radar, but you can tell there's definitely a circulation there even from the Montgomery radar, and it's headed to the northeast straight toward Dothan. So if I although not currently under warning, if I lived in Dothan, get ready to take tornado precautions soon. Actually, we do have the warning out now for Dothan. So Dothan, Alabama, take shelter, center part of your house away from windows or a basement. Right now, a tornado warning in effect for Dothan, Alabama, and areas to the south and west of there. This strong rotation is headed toward, looks like right into Dothan, Alabama right now. And again, warnings are coming in fast and furious. We have several severe thunderstorm warnings that are, that are being issued as well as this severe weather outbreak begins this afternoon across the southeast, and the tornado warnings are really just getting underway, so this could be a long afternoon. The tornado watch continues in Alabama until about 7 o'clock this evening and 8 o'clock in the Georgia area. We'll come back down to this Dothan storm in just a moment. Want to go back up here to Georgia. You can see there's go back down here to the Florida Panhandle in southern Alabama for a moment. You can see numerous tornado warnings as supercells are now developing here in southeastern Alabama and the Florida Panhandle, and they will be moving into southwestern Georgia. So if you're watching in southwestern Georgia, this is where the enhanced risk, and this is where we're going to be finding supercell thunderstorms this afternoon with the potential for long-lived track tornadoes. Some of them could be strong. When we say strong, we're not looking, especially in west central and southwestern Georgia today, we're not looking for the potential. Okay, we have a the potential now for a tornado to head straight into the city of Dothan, Alabama. So again, we don't have a confirmation that it's on the ground, but strong rotation on radar headed straight for the city of Dothan, Alabama. So if you live in Dothan, Alabama, please take shelter immediately. A possible tornado, and this is a supercell thunderstorm, is headed straight to the city. So we'll keep an eye on that. But you see, these are lining up. These are supercells. They will be moving into southwestern Georgia. And again, a lot of the ones that we've had across the southeast recently have been weak. These could be EF2 or greater, especially in west central and southwestern Georgia. So we're going to continue to watch this very closely. It could be a particularly dangerous weather situation here in portions of Georgia as we go through the next several hours. Going back up here to the Columbus area for a moment and check on this current tornado warning that is here in Georgia. As we zoom here, we're going to find that we're continuing to see some rotation here as our radar updates live. right in here, and it's moving right into Waverly Hall here in the next several minutes. So if I lived in Waverly Hall, again, center part of your house away from windows, and a basement if you have one. Tornado warning continuing now for Waverly Hall here in Georgia for the next several moments until about 2:15 Eastern Time. So we're continuing. If this storm continues, it would be coming into the far southern metropolitan Atlanta area during the 2 o'clock hour, and that would bring it across Upson County. So if I lived in Upson County, Georgia, heads up, we could have additional warnings here as the afternoon progresses. Again, you're watching live continuing coverage here on Stormwatch Atlanta this afternoon. Good afternoon from the broadcast center here in Atlanta on the Channel 1 networks. And we're live with tornado warnings here in Muskogee and Harris counties until 2:15. A potential tornado, this is just radar indicated right now, was near Columbus, Georgia, or just to the north of there. Now it's moving between Columbus and Waverly Hall at the moment, and should be approaching Waverly Hall here over the next several minutes. So if you live in Waverly Hall, a tornado may be headed your way, so please take shelter immediately. Still seeing some weak rotation there, so we'll come back to that. I really wanted to get back down. We're going to have a lot to cover. We're not going to be able to focus on, it's going to be one of those days where we're not going to be able to focus on one storm all the time, because we have a lot going on today, lots of supercells, and then we have the line along the cold front where some tornadoes could develop along the line. But these supercells are breaking out actually ahead of the cold front, and we're going to be finding severe weather all across the southeast this afternoon. So as we zoom back in here to the Dothan, Alabama areas, our radar updates live, we're going to be finding, yeah, we may have something pretty significant here. If you or someone you know lives in Dothan, Alabama, please let them know that we could possibly have a tornado here. This is going to be, again, we're in southeastern Alabama. It looks like Malvern, just the west of Malvern, headed toward Taylor, and it looks like it's going to head directly. It's moved to the northeast at 40. All these supercells are right now out ahead of the cold front, moving straight for Dothan here in the next several minutes. Let's see if we can get some times on here. It won't be long because these are really hauling it to the northeast. So about 1:46, well, that's kind of old there because it's moved past that. So yeah, it won't be but just a few minutes. It'll be here in the Dothan area. So again, center part of your house, away from windows. Dale, Geneva, and Houston counties in Alabama. The tornado warning is continuing until 1:15 Central. And this is an update from the National Weather Service in Peachtree City. The tornado warning continues for Harris and Talbot counties, counts from Muskogee. It's headed toward Waverly Hall and Shiloh here in the next several minutes. And that is for the Columbus area tornado warning. But again, we're here in Dothan, Alabama, where we may have a significant event developing here. This is still radar indicated here, but a possible tornado's radar indicated rotation could be headed for the city of Dothan, Alabama. So if I lived in the city of, well, we completely lost our radar. I apologize for that. Let's see if we can bring that back up. But if I lived in the city of Dothan, Alabama, please take shelter immediately. We cannot call, sometimes we upgrade. There's even one step further up from a tornado warning. It's called a tornado emergency. And you really can't say tornado emergency right now, at the moment anyway, for the city of Dothan, Alabama, until there's an actual tornado on the ground, and it's headed for a highly populated area, especially if it's a large tornado. That's when we go with a tornado emergency. Not quite there yet, but again, if you're in Dothan, Alabama, center part of your house away from windows, a possible tornado has been indicated by radar headed your way. And so we have the rotation right in here just to the west of Taylor, and again, it's moving off to the northeast at 40. So again, Dothan, Alabama, tornado warning until for about another 25 minutes. A tornado watch continues for much of Georgia, including the southern metropolitan Atlanta area until 8 p.m. this evening, and it also continues for portions of Alabama until 8 o'clock Central Time. And you see here we have several tornado warnings now here in southeastern Alabama. Here's another supercell that is developed here, and this is going to be headed toward Black, Alabama here in the next several minutes. So if I lived in Black, Alabama, or to the southeast of Geneva, a tornado may be headed your way here in the next several minutes. There's Black right there, Geneva right in there, and again it's moving off to the northeast. Let's zoom back out here. We have, I know of at least 3 active tornado warnings. The 2 down in here in portions of Florida and Alabama, southeastern Alabama. And then, of course, the one that is continuing up here in the Columbus area. Let's get the Montgomery radar back on there and zoom back in here, and it should be at or near Waverly Hall at this time. And again, not really seeing nothing right in here around Waverly Hall at this time. Not saying nothing's there, but at least on our radar, we're using radar scope at the moment in this area. And as we're continuing to get the very latest information in here from a variety of sources. So we're continuing to watch these storms. We're far south and west of Atlanta right now. This is northeast of Columbus, here in Taylor and Harris counties, around the Waverly Hall area right now. We're live with continuing severe weather coverage, bringing you this tornado warning that's going to continue until 2:15 Eastern Time. The only tornado warning in effect.
As well as Leslie and also into Flint-side. So in all those areas, you want to get to your safe place, the lowest, most interior room. Now to the west of that, let's go over towards Cuthbert. I want to show you another circulation. We have one right here, tornado warning right in there. That's not looking as well defined. But then Quitman and Randolph counties, that's going until 3 p.m. We're looking at that little appendage right there. So let's look at the velocity data in this case. And a pretty well-defined circulation now just west of Cuthbert, but lifting off to the northeast. Let's take that forward and show you where that's going to be moving in the next few minutes. Coming up towards Springvale. Right now it's getting into Springvale right at this moment. Benevolence at 244, Troutman 250, and Weston at about 258 or so. So possible tornado coming your way. We've got a lot of circulation showing up. We've got a lot of wind shear in the atmosphere. It's one of those days when we could not only see tornadoes, but there could be some strong tornadoes as well. So it's really, really important that you stay on top of this and stay with us as we continue to follow these tornadoes. Now over to Alabama. This is one of the areas where we could be looking at some strong tornadoes. And Macon County under warning until 2:15. Let's zoom on in and look at the velocity data. Last time we checked on this storm, we saw an elongated area of circulation. That is still the case. So right in there, got a little dog leg right there. So sometimes that can evolve and turn into more of a circulation. It's not really showing a real pronounced tight little circulation at this time. Nonetheless, there is a threat that is going to be coming up and across 80 and towards Tuskegee, so we'll keep our eyes on that storm. Certainly a damaging wind threat, and we could be looking at winds gusting to 75 miles per hour with some of these storms. Then off to the west of that, we've been watching a storm that was west of Montgomery, not seeing anywhere near the same level of circulation there. It really has sort of fallen apart, so I think much less of a tornado threat now in Autauga and Lowndes counties, at least for the time being. Southwest, severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 2 p.m. Looking at damaging winds, and because there is so much wind in the atmosphere in general, it's not just the wind shear that's leading to the tornado threat. We're also looking at the possibility of some very strong damaging straight line winds. As I mentioned, 75-mile-per-hour winds will be a possibility with some of these storms as they're developing through the afternoon. So let's take a look at the area where we've got the severe weather concern here, and it extends through southern parts of Georgia, southern Alabama. Tornado watches till 6 p.m. from Montgomery down to Mobile, down to the Gulf Coast, and then to the east of that, from just west of Tallahassee up through Albany, through Macon, and right up into the south side of the Atlanta metro area. Another tornado watch, and that's going until 8 o'clock tonight. And again, not only is it a tornado threat, we're also looking at the threat for damaging wind that could be on the order of 60, 70 miles per hour. So South Alabama, South Georgia, that's where the greatest threat is. We've got a 5 out of 10 on the Torcon, centered in southern parts of Alabama. We're also looking at a 3 out of 10 into southern Mississippi and Louisiana.
We have a new tornado warning now for Stewart and Webster counties in Georgia, and this is going to continue for the next several minutes. Again, Stewart and Webster counties in Georgia, new tornado warning.
To develop there across parts of South Georgia and Alabama. Look at that right in there, and certainly we may see an ongoing tornado threat rate that continues well into this evening. Over to you.
Thanks, Carl. And yeah, we've got not only severe weather threat, but a heavy rain threat too. I mean, look at this massive rain right now. Luckily, Birmingham, I think, done. Gadsden pretty close to it. Atlanta, raining and raining hard right now. This is an area that's seen a ton of rainfall so far this winter. It's going to be continuing. So slow travel if you have to head out this evening. As we said, Birmingham looks like you're just about done. Watching the rain movies. Maybe some leftovers here this evening to clean up. But other than that, it looks like the heaviest rain scoots east. So if you have to head out north Georgia, high-speed wipers, low-speed travel. As we said, about 3 o'clock this evening, looks like you are done here in Birmingham with the rain. So the storms will continue to push south, go through New Orleans here over the next couple of hours. As the severe weather threat ramps up across the south, it's time to start thinking about the safest place in your home is now. Coming up, we're going to show you the best place to go if a tornado is headed your way. Plus, Chris Warren is live in Louisville tracking Scott's snowy side. Chris.
Yeah, back to the snowstorm that's on right now. Not seeing as heavy of a snow here in Louisville, but this storm is certainly not over. In fact, some areas are yet to get hit with the worst of the storm as it gets cranking across parts of the Northeast. So as we look right now here, visibility is improving, but we're going to see more scenes like this, and it's going to be even worse for some other areas in line. And next up for the wrath of Winter Storm Scott.
And we're continuing our coverage of severe weather. Good afternoon from the broadcast center here in Atlanta. This is continuing coverage of severe weather. We are here over in the Montgomery area of Alabama, still watching these storms here, as well as we have continuing with an active tornado warning. A pretty good indication, strong rotation here, headed toward Tuskegee, Alabama. The storm was just at the southeast of Shorter, Alabama, and moving toward Tuskegee here over the next several minutes. So if I live there, center part of your house, away from windows, a hall closet, or a basement if you have one. Again, active tornado warning here over the next several minutes, and we'll continue to monitor this as we continue to go through the remainder of this afternoon and evening. This is all a part of a severe weather outbreak that is occurring right now across southeastern Georgia and Alabama at this hour, and particularly the central and southern portions of those states. And we have a confirmation now of a tornado on the ground in Terrell County, Georgia. A train spotter viewed a funnel cloud at 2:30 Eastern Time near Sacer, Georgia, looking north toward Bronwood. So spotters reporting a funnel cloud now in Terrell County, Georgia, with this tornado warning there. So again, we'll continue to monitor all aspects of this severe weather as our radar updates live. Let's go back down here if we can to that's a pretty good indication of a tornado there as well, and that would be headed toward the northeast over the next several hours, generally toward the Columbus area again. So Columbus, you're not out of this. We'll continue to monitor west central Georgia as we go through the afternoon hours. Again, we're in the velocity mode here, looking at the winds. We'll come back to that violent storm there to the east of Montgomery. Has the potential to stay on the ground. These are supercell thunderstorms, and it would generally headed in the direction of Columbus, Georgia, I would say within the next hour or so. So we'll have to monitor that storm very closely. But back down here in southwestern Georgia, it's a royal mess right now with numerous tornado warnings in effect. And let's get the closest radar here so we can get the most accurate information. And again, so far we have no reports of damage or injuries as a result of this storm across the southeast this afternoon, so we'll continue to monitor those very carefully. But again, the possibility of tornado touchdowns here in Georgia. We're in southwestern Georgia around Bronwood, and just to the northeast of, or rather northwest of Leesburg. Again, we're in southwestern Georgia. And over here around Cuthbert, and again, all these are moving to the east-northeast at about 50 miles per hour. Again, numerous tornado warnings in effect right now. We're in the velocity mode, and we're here in southwestern Georgia. Let's take a look at the radar, and I bet we'll see some supercells pop up here. And as our radar updates live, seeing one right here, and one down in here with a severe thunderstorm warning. That may be an active, may end up being a tornado warning here momentarily, as we're getting these little kidney bean shaped storms. These are breaking out ahead of the cold front that's still back in here in Alabama. So this is going to continue in this area for the next several hours, but mainly the New tornado warning now for Sumter County in Georgia until 3:15. Again, new tornado warning for Sumter County in Georgia until 2:15. So let's go back over here to the Montgomery area, because these have the potential to come into portions of west central Georgia, particularly around the Columbus area. I really think if you're watching from Atlanta, the worst of the weather is going to be south of I-20, in particular central and southern Georgia this afternoon. But there's still a slight risk. It's the severe weather hasn't completely been written off in the Atlanta area, especially South Metro. At this time, so we're going to continue to monitor the situation. For the moment, let's go back over to the Weather Channel as our coverage continues live.
A little bit tighter, and right there, you see that tiny little pinpoint right there? That is most likely a tornado. Let's also look at the debris, see if we see any debris associated with that. So right in there, we are seeing some debris with that, so that's not a surprise. So we've got a tornado being indicated by radar right now, coming towards 43. Looks like it's going to pass just to the south of McIntosh. So heads up there, if you're anywhere along 43 and south of McIntosh, you've got a likely tornado coming your way. Tracking that forward, the larger area forward, moving towards McIntosh in just about 10 minutes or so. Tensas at about 2:10, Sarange at about 2:23, and Uriah at around 2:36 or so. I want to show you what's going on with the atmosphere in general. Let's take a look at the low-level wind shear that's in place here, and this will tell you why we've got all of this in place. You've certainly got a lot of very strong wind aloft, so that's part of it. That's what we call deep layer shear, and that's generally more supportive of a severe weather threat. But the other thing that's happening is you've got a low-level wind threat, and in fact, if we go just a little to the south here, Matt, I'll just drive right down in here, and I want to show you the low-level wind profile. So
we have a new tornado warning now for Terrell and Randolph counties in Georgia until 3:15. You're looking at a active tornado warning now in Alabama. We're southeast of Montgomery, and likely tornado headed toward the Tuskegee area here in the next several minutes. So if you live in Tuskegee, center part of your house away from windows, closet, basement, storm pit if you have one, and you should be okay. But again, you must take shelter immediately. A tornado could be headed your way here in the Montgomery area as loud thunder begins to clash here at Stormwatch Atlanta. Again, no active warnings in the immediate metropolitan Atlanta area, but we're watching some cells off to the southwest that could affect portions of west central Georgia here over the next hour. So we're continuing to watch this supercell here that may make it into western Georgia here within the hour. And again, those numerous tornado warnings down in southwestern Georgia right now. But again, the only real supercell that we see that may affect the western suburbs of the far southwestern metropolitan Atlanta area would be this one right here. Of course, others may develop, more likely will develop, as the afternoon and evening progresses. We're continuing with the tornado watch for areas, the south metropolitan Atlanta area and areas down into middle and southern Georgia, especially southwestern Georgia, until 8 o'clock tonight. That may likely get extended over into the eastern areas of Georgia as we go into this evening. We'll have to monitor that as well. But right now we're here to the southeast of Montgomery with an active tornado warning. Let's see if we can get some further information on this. And let's see here. We're going to be finding that this is still a radar indicated tornado that's moving to the east at 50 miles per hour. And the I-85 rest areas in the path, along with the county airport there, and Liverpool and Franklin. So we'll continue to monitor this very closely. Very strong rotation right now, right over Tuskegee as our Radar Updates Live. We're here in southeastern Montgomery, Alabama. And again, this is moving off to the east at 50 miles per hour. So if that was to continue here over the next hour, that could potentially bring it right into Columbus, Georgia. There's Columbus right there. So we're watching this active tornado warning off to the west. Columbus had an active tornado warning earlier. That's what began our coverage during the 1 o'clock hour. So we're going to continue to monitor this. Again, no tornado warnings in effect for the metropolitan Atlanta area, but we have numerous tornado warnings now with supercells in southwestern Georgia. So stay with us. We'll continue to monitor this as we continue to go out with the rest of the afternoon and evening.
Look now, we're right across the Alabama-Georgia border here. Blakely, Georgia. Take a look at some ominous skies as storms are rolling into west central, southwest central Georgia, coming out of Alabama. Numerous warnings up, severe thunderstorm warnings, and even tornado warnings. It's a little brighter as you're probably looking north-northeast that way, but off to the west and northwest, bigger storms and severe weather. Charles Peak out there tracking these storms as we head on through this late Sunday afternoon. We'll bring in now Carl Parker. And Carl, more storms. We don't have any reports of confirmed tornadoes yet, but some of these cells looking a little nasty out there.
Yeah, they are. And, you know, the thing that we are seeing today is a lot of wind shear in the atmosphere and instability that's certainly going to be supportive of some stronger tornadoes. So this is one of those days when we could be looking at damaging.
We have a new tornado warning for Crawford and Taylor counties in Georgia until 3:15.
Some large wedge-type tornadoes developing in a couple of those because you've got so much wind shear in the atmosphere. And again, enough instability to support all of this. So we've got a collection of storms now from South Georgia into South Alabama. Let's begin in eastern Alabama. That is Macon County under warning until 2:15. I want to show you the velocity data here, and we're seeing a very broad but strong circulation. Let's zoom down a little bit closer if we could, Matt, and get a little bit of a better look at what's going on. So right in there, that is a broad but strong circulation. And as we look up through several levels of the storm, we do scans up into the middle part of the storm. It's got a really vigorous circulation. So there's a well-developed mesocyclone. That's the rotating part, the rotating updraft in the storm. That is very well developed at this time. I'm not seeing a real tight circulation in the lowest part of the storm, and that's one of the things that you look for when looking for the presence of a tornado. Not seeing that now, but this is a really strong, very broad circulation that could tighten up at any time. And so we're looking at certainly not only potential for a tornado here, but potential for a strong tornado in this area. So let's track that forward and see where that's going to be headed in the next few minutes. Coming into Little Texas right now, would not be at all surprised if there's a wall cloud moving into the area. Beauregard 213, Crawford 227, and Phoenix City at 242. In any of those areas, you've got a mean storm coming your way. So please stay on your toes, stay with us, and we'll guide you through this as best we can. Now, into South Georgia, we've got a whole slew of warnings here. One of those now coming right into the 75 corridor. That's Turner County under warning. Seeing a pretty well-developed hail core developing with that storm as well. Unfortunately, the radar coverage is not good here. We are seeing a circulation now coming into Ashburn, but the Macon radar is down, and so we're flying a little blind here. So just heads up there in Ashburn and points farther east. Tornado and also large hail possible there. Now to the north, that's Sumter County, and a tornado warning here going until 3:15. Let's look at the velocity in this case, and so we've got a circulation right there. That is now just south of 280, and moving off to the northeast, right in there, and then another circulation right in there. We can take both of those, track both of those forward, and see where it's going to be headed in the next few minutes here. One of those coming towards Flint side at about 3:08 or so, another one coming towards Huntington, Lamar, and Methvins at about 3:18. Again, in these areas, heads up, possible tornado moving your way. Then to the west of that, we've got another tornado warning. I've actually got a couple of them to tell you about. One of them is in Stewart and Webster counties. That's going until 3 p.m. Again, let's look at the velocity data. So right there, that area of red and green that's bumped up next to each other, that's where we're seeing circulation in the lower levels of the storm. And tracking that forward, that's going to come up and towards the 41 corridor there, moving into Weston, into Plains, Americus, and also in New Era. We know that you've got a lot of experience with tornadoes there in Americus, Georgia. One other one to tell you about in the central part of the state. And so now we're starting to pick up on the Atlanta radar at this time. That's Crawford and Taylor counties under warning going until 3:15. And looking at the velocity data in this case, as that moves up towards Route 80, right in there, that's a pretty well-developed circulation. We're shooting fairly high because, again, this is from the Atlanta radar, but at least a very well-developed mid-level circulation with this storm. Again, let's track this forward and see where that's going to be headed. That's now into Butler, so please get to your safe place right now. Moving into Reynolds at 3:06, Zenith at 3:17, and Lazella at 3:39. A possible tornado coming your way in all of those locations. Then farther west, two more tornado warnings to tell you about. So they are really coming fast and furious now. Washington County under warning until 2 p.m. Let's zoom in, get a closer look at that. That cell is now just about out of the warning area. Let's look at the velocity data very quickly. Looks like that's broadening out at this time, so I think we've got a little less of a tornado threat right now. Let's go to the storm to the north. We've got another tornado warning for a cell that is just off to the northeast of that, near Monroeville. This is a brand new tornado warning, and that now in effect for, let's see if we can get a look at the county there very quickly. That in effect for Conecuh and Monroe counties going until 2:15. Let's look at velocity, Matt, if we could. And so right in here is where you've got the circulation. That is now coming towards Monroeville. That too appears to be a little more elongated at this time, at least for now. And that's going to be headed into Monroeville, so heads up on that. So looking at the larger picture, I want to show you where the...
So we're here in central Georgia right now. The Macon radar is out, so we're having to depend on Peachtree City But even from the radar there, it's showing a likely circulation right here, just the southwest of Reynolds. So if you live in Reynolds, center part of your house away from windows, a basement if you have one, a likely tornado could be headed your way here. Again, this is radar indicated, but strong rotation near Butler right here, as our radar updates live and information continues to come in fast and furious. The circulation right here in Butler, again we're in central Georgia, and this is headed toward Reynolds here. Active tornado warning continuing for the next several minutes. So if you live in Reynolds, this may move either right toward you or just barely north of you in the next several minutes. But again, right now you're under a tornado warning, so that means center part of your house away from windows, and of course a basement or a storm pit if you have one. This is continuing coverage of severe weather here on Stormwatch Atlanta. Stay with us. So we now have a new tornado warning for Russell and Lee County, Alabama, until further notice. Again, a new tornado warning for Russell and Lee County, Alabama, for the next several minutes. As we continue our coverage here live. Good afternoon. This is Stormwatch Atlanta's continuing severe weather coverage here in Alabama and Georgia. If you're watching us from the immediate metropolitan Atlanta area, we do have some heavy rain and strong thunderstorms moving through there. But again, the worst of it appears to be in central and southern Georgia and south and eastern Alabama at the moment.
Welcome back. It is a very dangerous day across parts of the southeast. A highly energetic atmosphere now coming into parts of Georgia and Alabama, as well as northwest Florida. There are a lot of tornado warnings to tell you about. It is possible that we could see a strong or long-track tornado today. Got a new warning to tell you about now in eastern Alabama. That's Lee and Russell counties under warning until 2:45. We are watching a really strong, broad circulation with this storm. Let's zoom on in, get a better look at that. And so that area of bright blue there, and also the area of red right in there, that is again a broad but very strong circulation. And when you look up into the middle part of the storm, you see that it's got a really strong circulation well up into the mid-levels of the storm. So right now it's not real tight in the lowest levels, but that could change at any time, and I think if that were to change, we could be looking at a really damaging tornado here. So that is generally coming towards a Beauregard, maybe the south side of Beauregard, Crawford 227, Smith Station 236, and Columbus at 348. So we're looking at the possibility of a strong tornado in those areas. So please stay on your toes, and we'll let you know how that evolves on radar. All right, we've got a severe warning now for a cell that had been warned on for a tornado. Looks like a pretty good hail core has just gone through Ashburn there. Sumter County, this is in South Georgia, by the way, under warning until 3:15. Let's look at the velocity data here, and we're seeing some circulation right in there near 280, so we can track that forward. That's going to come towards Cordele. Also, another warning looks like the cell is out of the polygon right now, so they're going to let that expire. So let's just track this little area forward right in there. Very good, thank you. And that's going to be coming up into Cordele at 323, Tippettville 342, and Finlayson at about 352 or so. Possible tornado moving your way in those areas. Now to the north of that, we also have been looking at some storms. This is southern parts of Alabama, Conecuh and Monroe counties under warning until 2:15. So let's look at the velocity of that in this case. And when we're looking at this, by the way, what we're looking at is the circulation of the storm, the rain that is coming towards the radar and moving away from the radar. It's the same principle that allows you to hear a change in the pitch of a race car as it approaches. You see a big increase in the pitch, and then it drops off as it moves by. That's the Doppler effect. So the radar is using that to find where you've got circulation. And I see that there are a lot of smaller, less well-developed kinks showing up here, but nothing that really stands out at this time. So I think we've just got a general threat for circulation there coming towards Monroeville. Also severe warning for Baldwin, Escambia, and Monroe counties. That's going until 2:45. So let's broaden out and let's talk about the big picture. There you see where all the tornado warnings are. Tornado watches now extend from southern parts of Alabama into southern Mississippi, as well as northwest Florida. There's also now tornado watch farther east that extends into central Georgia, right up to the Atlanta metro area, the south side of the Atlanta metro area, where there's not going to be as much instability, but because there's so much wind shear today, if things get going just enough, if the storm's strong enough, just enough, then we could be looking at a possible brief tornado there. A lot of energy in the atmosphere today. Very strong winds aloft, driving into the southeast. That wind shear is a big part of what makes a tornado threat. And so here is the area of concern. We've trimmed this a little bit. It's really going to be centered on southeastern Alabama, so Montgomery, right down to the Florida state line, but also including much of northwest Florida, and then central Georgia, Americus, Enterprise, Albany, over into Macon, and then maybe reaching over into South Carolina as well. But we do think the storms are going to begin to lose some of their punch later on tonight. This is the reason why we've got this tornado threat. You see this change in the wind direction. There's also a lot of change in wind speed. You've got southerly winds there at the surface, and then at about 5,000 feet, you've got winds coming out of the southwest and a lot more rapidly. So that creates spin in the lowest levels of the atmosphere and leads to the rotation that starts to develop these tornadic storms. So 5 out of 10 on the Torcon in southern parts of Alabama, 3 out of 10 in parts of Mississippi and Louisiana, 3 out of 10 in southeast Georgia, and also in northern Florida. And we expect that this threat is going to go for quite some time, Ray. So, again, we could be looking at some strong tornadoes, and people aren't always on the lookout for this kind of thing, even though this is actually sort of prime time for severe weather on the southern part of the Gulf Coast. Sure. But, when it's been winter for a while and you haven't seen a lot of this, sometimes you sort of put it out of your mind.
Yeah, you do, and it's a good thing. We've got these warnings and watches out, and thanks, Carl, for that information. And we'll continue to react to keep you safe, but get your family safe, get you to a safe place quickly is something we want to do during severe weather. It can be the difference between life and death. Meteorologist Mark Elliott now with the safest place in your home to take shelter.
When you're under a tornado warning or you hear a tornado siren, and especially if you can see that tornado, now is not the time to grab that smartphone and start filming. Instead, it's time to get inside and seek shelter. You run inside to seek shelter from the storm and come up to your bedroom, which normally is pretty safe, until a portion tree crashes through your roof. Coming down to a lower level, great idea. Trying to see where the storm is outside those windows? It was a good idea to leave the windows, but this exterior wall doesn't help you as much as you might think. No, tree limbs or 2x4s, they're like toothpicks when winds get as fierce as in these storms. Yes, your garage is on ground level and has 4 sides. No, it isn't going to protect you the way you want it to. So this is where you do want to be. Not only a low level, but the lowest level you've got. And you want to put as many walls between you and the storm as possible. And then you stay here until it's safe. Because this room could be the one thing that saves your life.
other cities that'll be impacted by snow here. It's the wintry side of Scott. 80 million people under winter weather alerts. It's on the way. Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Harrisburg, New York City. These are some places that could get heavy for the snow or more. And it's going to be coming the first weekend of meteorological spring. All right, so we're going to go back out to our meteorologist in the elements. Chris Ward, Louisville, under winter weather advisory until midnight. Chris, we had a little burst of snowfall earlier. Now it looks like things have settled down a bit. What's the latest?
Yeah, they have certainly settled down a little bit. So I want to take a moment and comment about what Mark was talking about how having to find shelter while you're in your home during the spring season when severe weather is firing, including today with the severe weather and all the tornado warnings that are happening right now. And that's one of the key differences when we talk about the severe weather and the winter weather. Severe weather, you might have to shelter within your home to stay safe because severe weather is coming to get you, or it's coming, I don't mean to say it's coming to get you, but it is coming and maybe...
A new tornado warning now in effect for Dodge, Telfair, and Wilcox counties until 3:45.
There's no problem. Unless, of course, you lose power and it might be cold, but it's really not dangerous if you don't leave your home. But with severe weather, you have to make sure that you know within your home that there's a safe place that you can go to escape the severe weather and the dangerous weather that might be heading your way, or know somewhere else you can go in a timely fashion. But back to the winter side of things here in Louisville. We're just on the south side of the Ohio River, looking across at Indiana. Visibility has improved remarkably. But talk about the temperatures. They have gone down, still above the freezing mark, but the roads well above the freezing mark, and we can even see here on the southbound lanes of Interstate 65, this is wet, this isn't ice. A testament to the fact that it is relatively mild when we're talking about a deep freeze that is on the way, and the deep freeze with temperatures dropping down into the teens and 20s the next couple of nights here in Louisville, and for a huge portion of the Midwest, and not getting above freezing is going to come with sunshine and a few clouds. But right here, things are going all right with traffic moving along. But the concern we're looking at is when we hit that deep freeze, and you see all the water. In fact, you can see this right here. You see the getting wet now. You can see the water. You know what I call this road rain? This is water coming off of the interstate here. But all this water, as it pools up and it forms puddles like we see right here, I think this is going to be the real interest or the real concern. Not so much in the grass, but here, so imagine if this is a street, the winds tend to come and dry things out, but if that doesn't happen, this will eventually freeze. So one of the dangers that we're going to be looking at right here in the Midwest is going to be the chance that there's going to be some icy spots tomorrow morning or the day after that for areas that don't get much drying. And Chris, we're going to get out of this. We're getting soaked here because of the interstate dripping down on us. But initially, not a huge issue on the roads, and you can see that certainly here by the parking lot. But the quick burst of snow coming in with the winds as well is really kind of wrapping up.
Okay, this is Stormwatch Atlanta's continuing coverage of severe weather. We have a large tornado on the ground right now here in Lee County, Alabama. We're getting confirmation of this right now, and it's headed toward Smiths here, and this is going to be southeast of Auburn, Alabama, headed towards Smiths, Phoenix City, Alabama. A confirmed large tornado south of Opelika, Alabama right now. So this is on the ground. This is a very dangerous weather situation. So if you live anywhere southeast of Auburn, Alabama, over towards Smiths, we're here in east central Alabama. We have a life-threatening weather situation developing right now. Again, basement, a storm pit if you have one, center part of your house away from windows. If you're in a mobile home, please evacuate now if you can and get to a strong block or brick building. If you're in the car, get out into a ditch if you have time. Get to a strong building. Again, Smith Station, take cover, and Ladonia, Alabama, take cover, and Smith Station. A large tornado is on the ground right now, headed toward the east-northeast at about 50 miles per hour, so it's headed straight towards Smiths, Alabama, and right in here is the Georgia state line. So we now have a tornado warning coming out for Georgia, and this is going to be for Bibb, Crawford, Peach counties. Tornado warning for Bibb, Crawford, Houston, Peach, and Twiggs counties until 3:45. Again, new tornado warning for Bibb, Crawford, Houston, Peach, and Twiggs counties in Georgia until 3:45. But in the meantime, we have a tornado emergency for Crawford, Ladonia, and Smith Station, Alabama. Again, tornado emergency now for Crawford, Ladonia, and Smith Station, Alabama. Again, this is in east central Alabama. A large destructive tornado is on the ground right in here, and it's moving off to the northeast very quickly. There is the very strong rotation right there. And again, it's a tornado emergency now for Crawford, Ladonia, and Smith Station. A tornado emergency is actually, if you're not familiar what that is actually a step up from a tornado warning. We have a large violent tornado in progress headed toward Prince Crossroads here in Alabama over the next several minutes. So again, the National Weather Service has issued a tornado emergency now for Lee County and northern Russell County until 2:45 Central Time. Again, this is southeastern Lee County and northwestern Russell County. A large confirmed and destructive tornado near Griffin. This is in Alabama, and it's moving to the northeast at 50 miles an hour. Again, tornado emergency for Lee County, Alabama. This is a very dangerous and life-threatening weather event that is occurring. This is one of those supercells, long-track tornadoes, and this is unfortunately, I believe, may be headed toward Columbus, Georgia. So already, if you live in Columbus, Georgia, heads up, we may have a life-threatening situation developing here. Don't want to excite you too much, or but we may have a developing weather situation here in the Columbus, Georgia area here over the next several minutes. 150 mile per hour winds with this storm in Alabama right now, and a debris ball. So yeah, this is definitely a large and destructive tornado headed towards Smiths and Ladonia at this time, and there you see Columbus, Georgia right there. So this is going to be awfully close. And again, this is a large confirmed destructive tornado that is on the ground right here in east central Alabama, headed toward West Georgia. And again, headed toward Smith Station. A tornado emergency is in effect. And we also have a new tornado warning in central Georgia for Bibb, Crawford, Houston, Peach, and Twiggs counties until 3:45, and this includes the city of Macon. So let's run over to that real quick, and we'll get back to this one. And again, this includes the city of Macon. We're over here in central Georgia. There's Macon right in here. And let's check out we have these supercells that are developing right now. And the Macon radar is still not working, so let's go over to Peachtree City and get down here to Macon, where we have and we're in the wind mode here, and see if we can find this circulation here. And again, if you're just joining us, the tornado emergency continues for Phoenix City and Smith Station and Ladonia, Alabama until 2:45. Again, tornado emergency there. And it looks like we got a pretty good circulation developing here to the southwest of Macon. This is a tornado warning here, and it will be headed toward the Macon area here over the next several minutes. Right around 3:30, it should be just due south of Macon. So again, if I lived in Macon, center part of the house, away from windows and a basement, if you have one, pretty good rotation. This storm will be in Macon in about 15 minutes or less. Pretty good rotation developing right in here. And again, Macon, you are under a tornado warning, which means you need to take action now. A tornado may be headed your way. And again, we have a tornado emergency now just to the west of Columbus. We have a lot of active weather that is occurring right now in west central and central Georgia, and we're covering it for you live. Again, an active tornado warning here in central Georgia. It does include the Macon area down here to the southwest near Fort Valley. They headed toward Bryan here in the next several minutes, and Macon by around 3:30. So again, strong rotation here on radar. Let's see if we can get some information on this. Again, we're in Macon in central Georgia. Active tornado warning here. Let's get some information on this. This is going to continue for the next 30 minutes for Bibb, Twiggs, Peach, Crawford, and Houston counties until 3:45. And this is radar indicated rotation. And this storm is headed toward, it's in Fort Valley now, headed toward the Warner Robins, Byron, Payne, Payne City, Skippertown, also Lee Pope. We have more tornado warnings for Crisp, Dooley, Pulaski, and Wilcox counties in Georgia until 3:45. And again, we're here in the Macon area. And there's the storm right in there as our radar updates live, and it's moving to the northeast very quickly. And again, we're continuing to find a large destructive tornado on the ground over to the west of Columbus in Alabama. Let's go back over to the Montgomery radar, and you can even see it from the Peachtree City radar, but let's get in a little bit more clarity here. This is a tornado emergency. A large destructive tornado is on the ground here in Lee County, Alabama, and it looks like it's headed for the Columbus area. We're understanding now that the debris is being lifted, and we now have a tornado warning for Harris and Muskogee counties just in. Tornado warning for Harris and Muskogee counties until 3:45 for this large and destructive violent tornado that is on the ground right now. So again, Harris and Muskogee counties, a tornado warning is in effect. We have a large violent tornado coming into the western Georgia right now, and this is going to hit the Columbus area. It is moving to the northeast. Looks like it may now hit just due north of Columbus. But again, if I lived in Columbus and surrounding areas, you was under a tornado warning actually a couple of hours ago is what brought us on the air here. But you'll see our radar update live here in just a moment. We now have a new tornado warning that is in effect for the Columbus area. For this large destructive tornado that is on the ground headed towards Smiths here in the next several minutes. If you live in Smiths, Alabama, tornado emergency west of Columbus right now. And this is going to continue for the next several minutes. And we're seeing winds still with this storm at about 150 miles an hour. Again, this is a very large and destructive tornado that is on the ground, and radar is estimating winds of 150 miles an hour now moving into Smiths with this storm. So again, basement, storm pit if you have one, center part of your house away from windows. Do not panic, and if you take these measures, you'll be just fine. If you're in a car, get out and get into a ditch. If you can, get into a strong block or brick building. If you're in a mobile home, evacuate to a strong block or brick building, and you should be in pretty good shape. If you go to a store that's a block or brick mortar store, go to the back of the store away from those glass windows that are usually in front of a store. Again, we also have a tornado warning that we're watching very closely over in the Macon area, be headed just to the south of Macon here in the next several minutes, and that's radar indicated, and we'll get back to that just as soon as we can. We got a lot going on right now, but we also have a large destructive tornado on the ground here near Smiths, Alabama, and looks like this is going to head just to the due north of Columbus here over the next several minutes. So here is Columbus right in here, and you see that new tornado warning popping up right there. So if you live in okay, now we have a tornado emergency now for Columbus. So again, tornado emergency for Columbus, Georgia. Large destructive tornado on the ground near Smiths, Alabama. And let's get some more information from the National Weather Service. Tornado emergency for Muskogee and Harris counties in Georgia. Nobody should be driving here on US 220 between Phoenix City, Alabama and Salem, Alabama through 3 p.m. Central Time. Extremely dangerous tornado about to move through or near Smith Station here over the next several minutes. Then it will move into Georgia here momentarily. So again, we have a tornado emergency that is in effect right now for the Columbus area, and this is going to continue for the next several minutes for northern Muskogee and southern Harris counties. A confirmed large and destructive tornado was observed near Griffin Mill, or 7 miles west of Smiths, moving east at 60 miles an hour. Tornado emergency from Muskogee and Harris counties in western Georgia. This is a particularly dangerous situation. Hazard, deadly tornado. Source, weather spotters confirmed tornado on the ground. This is a life-threatening situation. So again, a strong tornado headed towards I-185, just a bit north of Columbus, Georgia. Delay southbound travel out of Troup County toward Columbus at this time. So again, a large destructive tornado headed into just to the north of Columbus, Georgia right now. This could be an EF1 to EF2 size tornado. We have 150 mile per hour winds as it's moving through Smiths, Alabama at this time. And again, a tornado emergency in effect for Columbus, Georgia. And we have a tornado warning in effect for the city of Macon, Georgia at this time, as these supercell thunderstorms continue to ramp up and move into and across the state. Again, we have a large destructive tornado moving into west central Georgia at this time. A tornado emergency is in effect for Columbus, Georgia.
Ready for that one, as that moves along very quickly, about 40-50 miles an hour to the northeast. Now to the south, let's take a look at some of these other tornado warnings that are now in effect. Crisp and Dooley in Wilcox County under warning until 3:45. That's near Cordele. Got another warning near Americus, Georgia right now. That is now into Americus. Let's look at the velocities on these storms and see what's showing up. Velocities are not as impressive in these cases, so hopefully that means that we're not seeing real strong circulation there. It certainly looks like that at this time. But again, a tornado emergency in effect for Lee and Russell counties in Alabama. We're going to have much more on that on the other side of the break.
And again, if you're just joining us, this is Stormwatch Atlanta's continuing coverage of severe weather, very violent weather moving into west central Georgia right now. We have a tornado emergency that is in effect for the areas just due north of Columbus, Georgia. I believe if you're right in the downtown Columbus area, you may be fine, but still take shelter. This is too close to call and a very dangerous and life-threatening weather event. If nobody should be on Highway 280 in Alabama in Lee County at this time, and nobody should be driving south of Troup County into Columbus at this time. And we have this just in: a large catastrophic tornado is located over Smith Station, Alabama at this time. So again, a large catastrophic tornado over Smith Station. Tornado emergency continues for Smith Station, Alabama, and Smiths, and also areas from Columbus to the north. At this time, as this very violent tornado is right along the Georgia-Alabama state line at this time, moving from Smiths into northern Columbus. This is a very dangerous and life-threatening weather event. Again, a storm pit if you have one. If you don't have one of those, get into a basement. If you don't have one of those, the center part of your house, away from windows. And it's about to cross the Chattahoochee River right now into Georgia. Again, we are in west central Georgia, just to the north of Columbus. If you live there, a tornado emergency is in effect. If you're just joining us, we have a large, destructive, catastrophic tornado on the ground along the Georgia-Alabama state line between Smiths and Columbus, and it's moving toward the east at 60 miles an hour. Please do not panic, but this is a life-threatening weather event. You need to be below ground, the lowest that you can get in your house. Do not be on top floors. If you're in a business for some chance, get to the bottom as quickly as possible. You need to be either underground or as close to the ground as you can get. As we continue to get the very latest information here, National Weather Service says a large tornado is currently on the ground near the city of Smith Station, Alabama. And we have debris continuing to go up into the air with this violent tornado that is continuing right now in between Smith City, and it's really along the Georgia-Alabama state line at this time. Again, we have a violent tornado in progress along the Georgia-Alabama state line just north of Columbus. Columbus is right down in here where you see my cursor, and I believe it's going to move just due north of Columbus. Large wedge tornado on the ground just east of Smith Station, about to cross into Georgia. This is from the National Weather Service in Birmingham. Again, large wedge tornado on the ground just east of Smith Station, Alabama, about to cross into Georgia. This time we can see it right here on our radars. Our radar updates live. Here's the Georgia-Alabama state line, and it's really on the state line at the Welcome Center right now, and it will be moving just due north of Columbus. And if you live in those areas just north of Columbus, you need to be taking emergency tornado precautions at this time.
That is expected from the storm, being characterized by the National Weather Service in Birmingham as catastrophic. Catastrophic damage expected from the storm. There it is as we swing around there. You know, you see one of the problems here in the southeast is that it tends to be very humid on severe weather days, so you've got very low cloud bases, and there's a lot of tree cover on top of that. So oftentimes you can't see the tornado until it's on you. You can see you've got an exceptionally dark, very low cloud base there. Not actually seeing circulation unless it's just coming into view straight. Oh, it looks like it is right in there. That is the tornado.
Oh Lord, we have a live tornado right here in front of you.
Looking at a monster tornado. Looks like the feed is frozen up there. A monster tornado on the ground in Alabama right now. There's another look at it, and looks like a very large wedge tornado there. We're seeing some large hail popping off the ground in the foreground there as well. We've been looking at debris on the radar for quite some time. The storm has come into Smith Station, maybe not quite as well developed on radar, but when you have a storm that's this strong, this intense, it takes a long time for it to spin down. It doesn't just go away. So as you look at this right now, what we're seeing is that ball showing up. That's the tornado right there. So let's just go ahead and track that out, Matt. Let's take that. That's going to come right across Interstate 185 here as it moves just a little to the north of east. So that's going to be coming into Nankapu at 3:38. About 8 minutes. You've got about 8 minutes to get ready for a large wedge tornado. Flat Rock at 3:45. Midland at 3:48, Osahatchee at 3:54. In all of those areas, you've got to get to your safe place, lowest, most interior room, as this storm really means business. Again, we're talking about a large wedge tornado, and the National Weather Service characterizing the damage potential as catastrophic. We've been seeing debris being lofted into the air with the storm for quite some time. This is as serious as it gets, and that is coming right into that 185 corridor. Now, here is the debris. Right in there, still an exceptionally well-developed debris signature. So all the red that is showing up there is rain, and in some cases it's hail. It's more rounded objects. When the objects are more irregular, when it's parts of branches, trees, or structural debris, then it shows up as these values, these blue and green values. And when we see that in the exact same place where you've got the strongest rotation, we know we've got a very serious tornado. And our heart's going out to these people in Alabama. This is just the last thing that we want to see, and this is a very, very serious tornado. Got another live picture for you now, and we're looking at, I believe, some debris coming up here in Salem, if I'm not mistaken. There you go. Not precisely sure. It looks like that could be a billboard, perhaps. Cell phone tower. That's exactly what that is. Thank you, Tori. Cell phone tower that has been felled by this tornado. I'm sure just the first of many, many images that we will see here. Exceptionally scary day across parts of Alabama right now. You see some tree debris there, some trees that have been stripped. And off to the left, you can see the tree that has been knocked down there, and they've been stripped as well. So this is what you expect to see in the wake of a very dangerous tornado. I do want to show you some of the other tornado warnings that we've got going right now, because there are a lot of them. We'll get back to the storm in just a moment, but there are many other areas that are being threatened by tornadoes right now. One of them is Macon. So this is a warning for Bibb and Houston and Twiggs counties going until 3:45. Well-developed circulation. Oh my goodness, look at this. Extremely well-developed circulation. Now, we are shooting fairly far up because we're looking at the Atlanta radar. The Macon radar is out, but that is a strong mid-level circulation. Let's take that forward. Let's track that forward. Also looks like a large hail threat now coming into Rutland. So that'll be moving into Rutland at 3:40, Wheeler Heights at 3:52, Gordon at 4:11, and Cooper's at 4:20. So the south side of the Macon area, possible tornado coming your way. Certainly a very strong mid-level rotation showing up with that storm. Let's go out to the south and take a look at some other areas. And got, again, a string of warnings. Now, look, just looking at the velocity data here, as we just eyeball this, these all don't appear to be as strong as the one that we were watching closer to Columbus there. It looks like there might be one that's a little bit stronger east of 75 now, but for the most part, these are not as strong. Just take a look at some of the, maybe just take a look at the warnings themselves. Just quickly run through those, Matt. See what counties are being warned on right now.
I'm guesstimating this is a EF4 tornado, very large tornado coming into areas just north of Columbus right now, still on the ground, moving into Georgia. Again, the possibility of the EF3, EF4, very large, destructive, catastrophic tornado coming into western Georgia at this time, just due north of Columbus.
With that other storm, and then farther south to the southwest, another warning coming towards Albany, and that is in effect for Baker, Calhoun, and Early counties. Seeing some rotation now south of Morgan and making its way out to the east. Okay, so I just wanted to run through those very quickly. Let's go back up to the main storm, the worst storm that we've seen so far today, and that is near Columbus, and we're still seeing very strong velocity signature right there, still seeing debris. You notice that this is now embedded within an area of rain. So this is what we call rain wrapped. For a long time, it was in an area where you had a clearing out ahead of it, an inflow notch there that was free of rain. Now it is wrapped into rain and still going. Obviously, we're still seeing that signature showing up, but hopefully that means that it's going to begin to lose some of that warm and humid air that enables it to be so strong. It may be that we're seeing change in the cycle of the storm here, change in the life cycle of the storm, and we're moving towards getting a little bit weaker. But this has been a large wedge tornado. Let's drop back down and take a closer look. And we're still seeing a very strong velocity signature, and we'll look at the debris as well. Still seeing a lot of debris showing up now. There's a brand new scan coming right into Interstate 185, north side of Nankipu, and coming into the south side of Rehoboth. And you want to get to your safe place in those areas right away. Let's track that forward, if we could, Matt, very quickly here. And that's going to make its way towards Fortson and Rehoboth, Turntime Crossroads, and Waverly Hall in the next few minutes here. So please, folks, get to your safe place right now. This is, again, as serious as it gets. Tornado emergency for parts of Alabama, including Lee County right now. I want to get over to Ray and let him take it over for a little while. We'll come back to this and take a look through the radars. Ray, this is just one of those things that just, it really makes your heart sink. Just do not like to see this.
Yeah, it does. And when you can confirm it too, like we get confirmation of damage and things like that, sure it makes it dangerous. Thanks a lot, Carl, for the information. All right, we're going to go now to a little picture coming out of Arlington, Georgia. This is in and around the Albany area, and you can see dark
strikes, by the way. Some incredibly dangerous storm to be outside. It's completely electrified, and so inside and away.
Just after 5:30, and this is Stormwatch Atlanta's continuing coverage of a tornado outbreak in Georgia this afternoon. Good afternoon from the broadcast center here in Atlanta on the many networks of Channel 1 Atlanta. If you're just joining us, 2 people are dead in Lee County, Alabama, as a large tornado went through there this afternoon. In west central Georgia, we have reports of numerous trees down on Highway 27 in Harris County. And in South Georgia, 1 person has been injured as a possible tornado went through a mobile home park there. We understand that some homes have been damaged. 1 has been destroyed. Let's go to the Weather Channel now for continuing severe weather coverage as this tornado outbreak continues in portions of central and southern Georgia this afternoon.
Here around 46, so anywhere between, say, 5 and maybe 14 minutes to take shelter tonight. You don't have a lot of time, so quickly get to a safe place within your home. Looks like there's a small but tight rotation right in there to the southwest of Defoniac Springs. Now I'm going to take you up into Georgia tonight. Pretty good storm here in Stewart and Webster County that's had a tornado warning on it as well. This is going to come close to Highway 280 over the course of the next couple of minutes, and may come close to Americus. We've got a storied history with tornadoes in Americus, unfortunately, but you can see some rotation within that. Although the good news here is that it might be weakening somewhat, although many of these supercells today have cycled, meaning they have produced a tornado, and then at some point that tornado has dissipated, and then a few minutes later it'll produce another one. That's possibly what could be happening here. But right in there is the rotation, a little bit weaker than previous. If you're in Preston, Dumas, Plains, Thalian, Americus, all places where you need to take shelter in the safest place in your home tonight. Lowest level, meaning the ground floor, and put as many walls between you and the threat as you possibly can this evening. All right, we're going to take you to some other storms here that are a little bit farther off to the north here, and then off to the east as well. Fitzgerald, now this has been a very interesting storm, and I think at times has also cycled here, and it's strengthened in its weekend and strengthened in its weekend here, but a big hail core with that storm for sure, and then some rotation down on the back side of that storm. So here's what we're looking at, okay? Big hail core here in this purple color, likely getting some inflow right in there, and so if a tornado were hiding, it'd be hiding right in that inflow notch, if you will. That's going to be just east now of Fitzgerald. Likely came right over the town of Fitzgerald, unfortunately, and now coming very, very near, say, Highway 319 on the east side of Fitzgerald, and then east of 129. Osterfield here, and I apologize if that's not how you pronounce it, but a lot of little towns here, and sometimes you just don't know every single one. But if you're living here in Osterfield, please take shelter quickly here tonight. You've literally got just moments to find a safe place. And then the storm likely going to race its way off to the east here. So a place like Sap Stills is also a place where you need to take shelter quickly tonight in Jacksonville around 5:48. This is Jacksonville, Georgia, okay? At the hospital here. Burke County, this is going to be south of Augusta, Georgia, near Waynesboro on Highway 25 tonight. We've got a potential tornado coming your way as well. The warning goes until 6 o'clock this evening. Storm racing off to the excuse me, east here. If you're in Girard or in Waynesboro, take shelter as quickly as you can. We invite you to stay with us. More tornado coverage here on the Weather Channel after this.
And that's the very latest from the Weather Channel. Again, continuing coverage of a tornado outbreak this afternoon. Good afternoon. It's 5:36 Eastern Time. And again, if you're just joining us, 2 people are dead in Lee County, Alabama, from a large tornado that went through there within the past hour and a half or so. Some of that came into western Georgia on the north side of Columbus and produced some damage in Harris County, and we have reports of numerous trees down where the tornado, if you actually seen it, we had it live for just a few seconds on our air as a storm chaser was in the area and got it when it came across into western Georgia, coming across the highway there, and then the video went out. But it was absolute monster. I'd say at least an EF4 tornado that went through Smith's Alabama and moved into areas north of Columbus, Georgia. And again, we have reports of numerous trees down on Highway 27 in Harris County, Georgia. Again, 2 people are dead from a large tornado that went through from Lee County, Alabama. Then they get hit by another possible tornado after that. So 2 tornadoes went across the same path this afternoon across Lee County, Alabama. We have reports of 1 person injured in Crawford County, Georgia, as a possible tornado went through a mobile home park there this afternoon. Understand that 1 home has been destroyed as a result of a possible tornado there. Right now you're looking live at our radar scope. We're here in southwestern Georgia. Possible tornado around western, moving to toward Plains, Georgia here in the next several minutes. So if you're in these areas, take shelter immediately. A tornado may be headed your way. Okay, we have another dangerous tornado that may be developing right now in Waynesboro, Georgia. Let's see if we can go down to that right now. This is down in South Georgia. First, let's see if we can get a closer radar here. The Macon radar is out, so let's use this one. I think that's Valdosta. Here we have a dangerous radar signature, possible tornado near Waynesboro, Georgia currently. Let's go in and check in with some of these areas here. And we're continuing with this strong rotation here to the east of Fitzgerald, moving toward areas south of Jacksonville, Georgia here in the next several minutes. We have another pretty good strong rotation around Alma, Georgia. Again, we're in South Georgia now, and that's going to be racing off to the east at around 50 to 60 miles per hour. And again, a tornado warning continues for Clay and Randolph counties in Georgia until further notice. Let's go back and look at some of this damage now that's happened in the Eufaula, Alabama area.
Extreme southeastern Alabama, right near the Georgia state line. Those are live images coming to us right now. Welcome back, everyone. I'm meteorologist Mike Bettis. A lot of tornado warnings for us right now. We're going to get to all of them so you know that risk tonight, including one down in the Panhandle of Florida, where the tornado appears to be getting possibly stronger now, but a large complex of storms from South Carolina all the way down to past Pensacola, Florida tonight. So when you take a look at this latest warning that we have very near Defoniak Springs and I-10, this is Holmes, Walton, and Washington County, are warning until the top of the hour. When you take a look at the velocities here and the radar signature, right in there is where the tornado is. I know there's a lot of different lines and colors and stuff on your screen tonight, folks, but I'm going to circle the area that you need to be paying attention to. It's that spot right there near Cossin Mill here, and this may come right over Defoniak Springs tonight. All right, so if you're there and you're watching us right now, there is literally no time to waste. You have to get to the safest place in your home as quickly as you can. If you have a tornado shelter, go there. If you don't, first floor. Get down to the ground level. You don't want to be on a second story, a third story, nothing like that. Down to the ground level. You can actually withstand a tornado in your home, even if it takes a direct hit. You can be safe. There are safe places in your home to be. In a closet, in a bathroom, under a stairwell, a place where there are no windows and there are no exterior walls. You want to let all those exterior walls take the hit, and you're going to be on the inside. Protect your head. Get down low. If you can maybe dive under a sturdy piece of furniture, do that right now in Defoniak Springs. Stop watching us right now. Seriously, stop watching and just go take shelter. That's exactly what you need to do at this moment. All right, I'm going to show you where this is all going, okay? Valley Springs Hospital, now. Defoniak Springs, now. Corver, 444, so you've got about 3 minutes before the tornado is there. It's starting to get stronger, folks. It didn't look like that a couple of scans ago, but now it's intensifying. So you need to do everything you can to protect yourself. And this, I'm going to draw it on here, is I-10. I'm going to highlight it for you there. It looks like it's come just across I-10 here, okay? But it's literally going right through the center Defoniak Springs tonight. That's a really scary thought, that whole tornado would literally go dead center over the middle of town tonight. So if you're on Highway 90, maybe around Ponce de Leon, I would stay put where you are. I don't think the tornado at this point is going to come over you. It may slide just to your north, but hold tight. You're still under that tornado warning as well, and be prepared to take shelter quickly if we happen to get a tornado that's moving in a different direction. But I think what we might be getting at the very least here, folks, the very least, is a very significant downburst wind, if nothing else. Although I would certainly argue that there is rotation within that, but knowing that we've got a large area that's got kind of a fat backwards C shape, if you will, we might be getting a very significant downburst wind out of that. We may have had a tornado at one point. We may still have a tornado, but I would be alarmed if we had straight line winds that we might have, you know, the possibility here of 80+ mile/hour winds, which will do some damage, especially if you happen to be in a mobile home. It is not a safe place for you to be tonight. You can make the argument also that there might be some debris within that as well. So when you look at the correlation coefficient on the radar, and the software within the radar has the ability to detect debris that's been picked up and tossed into the air, okay? And that's what we're seeing right in there. I'll circle it again as that little yellow dot amongst all of the red color that you see on the screen, and that's not a good sign, because that's right on I-10, and we know that the path of that literally brings it right over the center of town. So already a history of debris with that particular storm. Now we're going to widen all of this out, okay, and show you the threat that exists right through Georgia and now into South Carolina as well. So a lot of different warnings along this entire complex here. I'm going to take you to a storm here just outside of Weston and headed toward Americus here. And starting to get, you know, some kinks in a lot of these storms here, which is a sign that you might get a few quick spin-ups, but also get some really gusty straight-line wind. Webster County under a tornado warning. Calhoun, Clay, and Randolph County under a warning now, including from Shorterville over toward Morgan tonight. So Edison, Fort Gaines, and Shorterville, all places where you need to take shelter as quickly as you can with a possible tornado right over Shorterville, by the way, and then pushing off to the east and northeast tonight. These are all places that you are in danger of being hit by a tornado tonight. Now we go farther to the east. We believe a possible tornado just came over Fitzgerald, and it's now moved to the east of Fitzgerald. Ben Hill and Irwin counties under tornado warnings right now. That tornado likely has some large hail on the front side of it. Tornado that sits right back in here. So these are places, you know, between Fitzgerald and Baxley here where you're in danger tonight. Likely inflow notch coming in here with the tornado sitting in right behind the big hail core that's highlighted there in a purple color. Again, Appling, Coffee, Jeff Davis counties, those have been extended to the east. Those are all places where we also have tornado warnings tonight. In Denton and Hazelhurst, take shelter and stay there until the storm passes. Another storm here that's just come past Alma, Georgia. Big hail core and likely rotation just to the south and west of that hail core. I'll circle the hail. That'll be right there. An inflow notch coming in here. Tornado will hide right down in here. Appling and Bacon counties under tornado warning. Then we go over toward the Waynesboro area and right along the Georgia and South Carolina state line. Burke County, you're under a tornado warning until 6 o'clock. Take shelter quickly there. The newest tornado warnings in Bamberg and Orangeburg counties in South Carolina. So in Bamberg and Branchville, tornado warnings for you. Please take shelter quickly. Tornado watches extend all the way until 11 o'clock tonight. So we believe the threat goes well past dark tonight, and maybe even while you're sleeping, have a way to be alerted if a tornado warning is issued at nighttime, including alerts on your phone or a weather radio. Warning as watches and warnings that will extend through the evening, and watches to go all the way back to Mobile, Alabama. We're back after this.
You're watching continuing coverage, tornado outbreak in Georgia and Alabama this afternoon from the networks of Channel 1 Atlanta. This is Stormwatch Atlanta's continuing coverage of severe weather. Good afternoon and evening to you. It's just before 6 o'clock. If you're just joining us, we've been covering a tornado outbreak this afternoon in Georgia and Alabama, where 2 people have died as a result of the deadly storms in Lee County, Alabama, as a large destructive tornado went through there this afternoon. 1 person has been injured in Crawford County, Georgia, as several homes were damaged or destroyed there. Numerous trees and power lines are reported down on Highway 27 in Harris County, Georgia, as a result of the storms there. Right now, you're looking at a tornado warning that is active right now live on our Doppler radar from RadarScope, and this is in counties in Alabama and Georgia, in southwestern Georgia here, near the Fort Gaines area, Coleman and Edison, and it appears that there's a likelihood of tornado touchdowns here. Strong rotation right here, and it's moving off to the east and will move into areas that is actually in between Coleman and Edison in Georgia, in southwestern Georgia here, over the next several minutes. So if you live in these areas of southwestern Georgia between Coleman and Edison, get to the basement or center part of your house now, away from windows. A tornado may be headed your way. Just for your information, if you're watching this from the Atlanta area, most of the severe weather happened far south of the Atlanta metropolitan Atlanta today, thankfully. Of course, we don't want anybody to get injured or have damage, but at least it did, North Georgia was spared as a result of this tornado outbreak this afternoon. We did have a tornado warning earlier in the far south metro area in Upson County, but we have no immediate reports of damage or injuries as the storms went through there, but we'll get an update on that here in the next few minutes. We did have a report from Fox 5 earlier of numerous trees down in Harris County, Georgia, as the storm came out of Lee County, Alabama. And as a result of that, they actually had 2 tornadoes. The big one went through guesstimated to be a EF4. We've seen it live here on our air for about 3 to 4 seconds as it came across the road. Then the camera went out, but it was an absolute monster as it came across the road there on the Georgia-Alabama state line from Lee County, Alabama into the areas north of Columbus. And again, it's been pretty bad in Lee County, Alabama, and some very intense tornado damage in Eufaula, Alabama, according to chasers there. And again, we're continuing with this tornado warning here in southwestern Georgia. Storm is moving between Coleman and Edson here over the next several minutes. Tornado watch canceled for metropolitan Atlanta area.
US 280, and this is the Buckwild Saloon that's been hit, where the roof has been removed, and then the top of your shot there, that would be the Speed Zone Fuels gas station that we believe also took a pretty significant hit. There's a cell phone tower that's been knocked over across the highway as well. But if you're familiar with the location, then we believe that is the Buckwild Saloon that has been hit. Charles Peak is the man behind these aerial images we're getting right now. Charles, if you're with us, can you describe what you've been seeing this afternoon?
Michael, just had, tornado warning after tornado warning going on, and I was a little south of this area and did spot the location here, and just got my drone up. And these are first views I'm getting here of the Buckwild Saloon and the gas station here, just a little to my northwest where the cell phone tower is across the way and bring around it, and we'll continue to explore what other damages are around you.
Charles, is 280 passable right now?
It's slow. They're basically having everybody go down the 2-lane north side of the highway. The south side of the highway is closed now, so we've got it making it single traffic going back and forth.
As far as this building that we're looking at, Charles, dead center, in the middle of your screen there, it looks like it's obviously the roof has been taken completely off here. Do you know if there was anybody inside at the time? I guess it's a good sign. We don't see any first responders on the scene, but can you kind of walk us through what the situation is at that particular building?
I'm unaware. I haven't had a chance to talk to anybody here. It does look like mainly the roof and some structural damage to the walls on that one. And then there is cinder block on the gas station that has been removed and blown down as well. There is a traffic accident just down the road that has pulled, I think, a lot of the emergency personnel back. I do not think it was related other than just traffic issues.
Charles, just stunning stuff, but we have seen, I think we're going to see a lot of images like this throughout the evening. That is Charles Peak showing us some live aerials right now out of Smith Station, Alabama. This is west of Columbus, Georgia, right along US 280. And as he spins around here, you're going to see right there, that is going to be on the
And you can see there's traffic. This is a divided highway, but traffic has been diverted over to the, usually what's the northbound lanes. But those northbound lanes are now north and southbound, because over the southbound lanes is a cell phone tower that's been knocked over. So, and you can see all of the trees here that have been snapped as well. So a very significant tornado, we believe, has come over the Smith Station area. This is about maybe 1 mile north of the center of town, and that you can see, boy, the cell phone towers can take a pretty good amount of wind, and so it takes, and you can see how the metal's a little twisted as well. Boy, that is that's quite a view for you right there, folks. But you can see that the tower's down over the southbound lanes. Southbound lanes are all blocked right now, and the northbound lanes are bi-directional at this point. But the live images of some cell phone towers have been knocked down, and a saloon that was damaged there in Smith Station, Alabama. I'm meteorologist Mike Bettis, and we've got other tornado warnings we want to update you on through Florida, Georgia, and now South Carolina this evening. We're going to continue to show you some of the images on your screen of what we've seen today in Alabama. But a pretty good storm, we think, has come past Defoniac Springs here and along I-10, coming now very close to Ponce de Leon, and eventually Westville as well. Holmes in Walton County, Florida, under a tornado warning right now. Very again near I-10 this evening. Need to be taking shelter very quickly in these locations tonight. Now I've got a new warning for you, by the way, right along the Alabama and Florida state line. I'm going to draw the state line, the bottom of your screen here. It's right there. Tornado warning for us, Geneva, Houston, and Jackson County for us right now. And this may come very near Dothan, Alabama, maybe just south of Dothan. Our warning goes until 5:15 Central Time this evening, and a storm that's going to track almost due east. A lot of these storms are moving very quickly too, folks, maybe around 50 miles an hour. So once the warning is issued, you've got very little time to take a shelter. If you're anywhere along, say, Highway 231, those are places where you're going to want to take shelter quickly into the safest place within your home. Warnings extend over through Georgia. Numerous warnings from around Albany over towards Savannah, south of Savannah. The closest one here near Bluffton, and then headed over toward Morgan and Dawson. Calhoun, Clay, and Randolph counties under tornado warnings that go until 6:15 Eastern Time tonight. The tornado is going to be right here near Bluffton, okay? And then racing off to the east, again around 50 miles an hour. Storms that could contain tornadoes near Denton, Georgia, with a tornado right here south of Jacksonville. In Appling, Coffee, and Jeff Davis counties, you're under a warning. If you're in the town of Denton or Hazelhurst, take shelter as quickly as you can. Another warning for us here. This does include near the Jessup area in Appling and Wayne counties, a tornado warning with hail circled here, tornado down here in Jessup. You've got a few minutes to take shelter, get someplace safe within your home. Warning to extend over into South Carolina, and watches that will go until 11 o'clock this evening. We're back after this.
course, sometimes hail, but the hail.
It's 6 o'clock and we're live from Atlanta with continuing coverage of severe weather. Good evening from the broadcast center here in Atlanta on the networks of Channel 1 Atlanta. We have breaking news to tell you about right now out of Georgia and Alabama. Has suffered a tornado outbreak this afternoon. As many as 2 people are dead in Lee County, Alabama, as a result of a large tornado that went through there a few hours ago. Numerous trees reported down on Highway 27 in Harris County, Georgia. One person has been injured in Crawford County, Georgia, as some homes have been destroyed there. We also have reports of widespread damage in southwestern Georgia now. Let's go over to station WALB in Albany, Georgia for continuing coverage of this tornado outbreak.
We will be watching this very carefully, but we are finally seeing the line of thunderstorms, and this will bring an end to the severe threat. We're seeing that line past Webster County, past Stewart County, and past Quitman County. So we can go ahead and check those 3 counties off. You are done with the severe threat. It is over for you. Again, we may have had a major tornado go through Stewart County and may have made it into Webster County as well. So even though you're done with the severe threat, you may not be hearing us. You may not have any power because, of course, the tornado may have taken down a lot of lines and the power. So we've kind of had a little bit of a lull in the warnings, but I'm sure that's just a short-term thing, not a long-term. We are watching a line of thunderstorms with rotations around it. Doesn't look quite as impressive.
More coverage now on the tornadoes as our live team coverage continues this evening from WSB-TV in Atlanta.
Peach County in central Georgia. Severe Weather Team 2 tracked these twisters this afternoon on air and online.
We begin our live Severe Weather Team 2 coverage with Chief Meteorologist Glenn Burns and Meteorologist Brad Mitz. Glenn, the severe storms are pushing through central and south Georgia.
Yeah, it's an ongoing situation, but I know the anxiety level here in northern Georgia with severe storms is way up at a 10 today. Rest easy. All of that is over now for the metro Atlanta area and all of northern Georgia. It is still ongoing as we check our Storm Tracker 2 HD radar to the south and east of Atlanta. You can see some of these horrific thunderstorms there that are approaching the southeastern part of our state, just to the southeast of Eatonton. So there you see Milledgeville. They're getting clobbered by some heavy rain and some hail. No severe warnings as of yet. The severe thunderstorm warnings and the tornado warnings are still in effect for portions of South Georgia, and those severe thunderstorm warnings are coming from supercell thunderstorms. Look at them all lined up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, now approaching the Georgia coast, and many of them are tornado warned. In behind this, we have a big push of some violent thunderstorms here, new tornado warnings, but more or less straight line winds. These are bowing segments here that are being pushed by strong, powerful straight line winds. So dealing with that now just to the north of Albany, ready to cross Interstate 75 just to the south of Warner Robins. Now, we got a ton of rain today, as you might expect, on saturated ground, some flooding issues in many areas, 1.5 inches here around Rome. 1.5 inches about Gainesville. In the heart of Atlanta, anywhere from 0.8 inches to 1.5 inches. Quite common rainfall amounts across northern Georgia. So, what's ahead as we push through the evening hours? My colleague who's been tracking the storms with me all afternoon in Severe Weather Center 2, Brad Mitz, has more on that.
Yeah, Glenn, the showers and thunderstorms as they're moving out towards the east, the risk for severe weather has come to an end across metro Atlanta and is going to be diminishing across middle Georgia here in the hours ahead. I want to show you what we're going to have through this evening. Looking ahead towards 7 o'clock, those showers that Glenn pointed out there near Eatonton and Milledgeville, they're pushing to the east, drying up over northwest Georgia into the metro area with temperatures falling into the upper 40s in northwest Georgia. As we head through this evening, check it out, even some breaks in the clouds. And as we head through the next few hours and then overnight into tomorrow morning, this is 11 o'clock, we're into the 40s. We're headed down to morning lows by tomorrow morning in the low to mid 30s. So the severe weather threat is over for metro Atlanta. Will be ending in the next few hours down into middle Georgia. Now, meteorologist Katie Walls has traveled down into Talbotton in Talbot County. Katie, describe for us what you've seen down there.
Okay, so the first thing is that we were traveling south on Poviting Road trying to get to Talbotton, and there were so many trees down that we were told we had to turn around because crews are actively performing search and rescues right now in Talbotton. So let me show you what's going on. We're now driving on another road on 41 South, trying to get into the city to see the damage. We know there was a large tornado reported on the ground, the same large tornado that was heading toward Upson County. That, of course, why we broke into live programming during the basketball game to show you that risk. We haven't seen all of the damage yet, just some of those trees from a distance that were completely cropped off. So as soon as I get to Talbotton, I'll be bringing you that live report. For now, I'm live in Talbot County in Severe Weather Chaser 2, Severe Weather Team 2 meteorologist Katie Wells, Channel 2 Action News.
All right, thank you, Katie. And Channel 2's Michael Seiden continuing our live Severe Weather Team 2 coverage now in Gwinnett County.
And Michael, a family said that when lightning hit a home, it sounded like a bomb went off there.
Yeah, one neighbor telling me it sounded like a bomb, another telling me their house shook like an earthquake. But I got to tell you, this is the type of neighborhood you want to live in, because we are told that as soon as that lightning struck this house and the flames started shooting out of the side of the house, neighbors started running over here to help that family of 7 who lives here. Now, tonight they are working with the Red Cross, but I wanted to show you again, this all happened just before 2 o'clock this afternoon when Gwinnett County fire officials say a lightning strike hit the side of that home. We are in the 1900 block of Green Gables Circle here in Buford. Now that sent flames shooting up the side of the house into a bedroom. Now fortunately the family inside got out before anyone was injured. Fire department quickly responded, knocking out those flames before they could spread to the rest of the home. And in the last 30 minutes I spoke with a neighbor who told me again he thought a bomb had gone off in his neighborhood.
All of a sudden we heard a big crash of thunder and looked out the window, saw flames coming off the neighbor's house, and just as the flames came off the neighbor's house, you kind of saw what looked like running of the ground, and then geysers come up out of the ground of nothing but water.
And speaking of water, at this hour, you can see Gwinnett County officials out here. They're actually working on a water main that was ruptured once that lightning hit. I can also tell you that I've spoken to several neighbors who told me they are without power. But the good news out here, that family of 7 who lives here, they got out without any injuries, and they believe that their house is not a total loss. We are live tonight in Gwinnett County. Michael Seiden, Channel 2 Action News.
All right, some good news there. Thank you, Michael. And anyone who needs to call police in Snellville should use 911. Snellville police saying a lightning strike knocked out their phones this afternoon. Drivers really have to be careful right now near creeks and rivers. A viewer sending us this video of the water spilling over Vineyard Creek Road in Ackworth. This is up in Lake Allatoona in Bartow County. Another live look here at the cloudy sky. Our tower camera here in Midtown Atlanta. Chief Meteorologist Glenn Burns is tracking when the rain moves out and colder air moves in. That's in his full forecast in less than 10 minutes.
With heavy rain here across Villageville, across Lake Sinclair, just to the southeast of Lake Oconee. That is moving away from the metro, but the cold air, that's plowing in toward northern Georgia. Get ready for some of the coldest air of the season. We'll talk about that coming up.
We've got another live look from Severe Weather Chaser 2. Just a couple of minutes ago, we heard from meteorologist Katie Wells checking out tornado damage in Talbot County. We'll check back in with her.
Many dogs found.
And that was the latest from WSB TV in Atlanta. Now we're going to go back to station WALB for continuing coverage of active tornado warnings still ongoing right now in Georgia and the Albany area.
Right on the dot. 2 p.m. was our first tornado warning, and we have been on the air ever since, and we're continuing with tornado warnings. We're going on now our 5th hour of continuous coverage for a tornado outbreak here on March 3rd, 2019. This is really the first severe weather outbreak we have had since January of 2017. So we haven't had one like this in quite some time. Hopefully the areas that it affected, these tornadoes that we have now confirmed, especially the one in Stewart County, hopefully it did not affect anyone house and home and life, but we are getting confirmation of a powerful tornado that did hit Stewart County. And we are still tracking one more tornado warning, and that is the one in Randolph County, extreme northeastern Clay County, and into northwestern Calhoun County. So Edison, just north of Edison here, crossing Highway 216. Is that what it says? 216, yeah. Highway 216, and that's where it's coming We are watching areas off to the east still. If this holds together, it could affect get into Terrell County here, stay south of Shellman, and it could come into Morgan as well. So please seek shelter until this cell comes past you. This is a cell we've been tracking for some time now. That cell is packing quite a punch, and we are still seeing some rotation now. I'm looking at the latest. The rotation has opened up. I still am seeing 70-mile-an-hour winds near Edison, but the rotation has opened up. What that means is that we're starting to lose. If there was a tornado, we're starting to lose it. There are winds here coming out of this bow that could be up to 70 miles per hour, and there could be some locally heavy rainfall. I do not expect any more hail coming. I'm not seeing those real bright colors anymore, so that probably isn't any hail, but can't rule out maybe some smaller hail mixing in. But there are signs that this storm is weakening. We'll take you to at least 6:30 with this coverage again, even though we are just dealing with one tornado warning. Is that the last tornado warning?
I believe that's the last one. We still have severe thunderstorm warnings, and those warnings continue for many areas right now. Let me zoom out and show you exactly where the warnings are. A newly issued tornado warning just coming in, and you see that just north of Morgan. So a new tornado warning for Randolph, Calhoun, and Terrell counties until 6:45. Possible tornado being indicated by Doppler radar as having rotation. It was located near Edison, or about 10 miles northwest of Morgan, moving east at 40 miles per hour. So if you're in areas of Randolph, Calhoun, and Terrell counties, a tornado warning is in effect until 6:45. Possible tornadic activity in those areas, and you need to stay inside. Of course, this has been a very dangerous afternoon with a strong to severe storms and even possible tornadoes moving across southwest Georgia. Now, there are other warnings, and they are severe thunderstorm warnings. They cover areas from Sumter County all the way back into Early County, although Early County right now just on the leading edge of a newly issued tornado warning. It is a possible rotation, possible sail coming in out of southeast Alabama. That was an area that we were watching rather closely. Over in Calhoun, Clay, Randolph counties, confirmed tornado near Edison, confirmed tornado, and this is coming in from the National Weather Service in Tallahassee. That particular sail located about 10 miles south of Cuthbert, moving east at 45 miles per hour. So that is one tornado warning that was newly issued. The second warning right now issued for areas of Early County, and that is all part of the cluster of severe storms just south of Dothan, moving into southwest Georgia. So if you're in Seminole, Early counties, tornado warning until 6:45. Doppler radar has indicated possible rotation with that particular storm, and like all other warnings we have warned you about, please stay in your safe room in your home. Do not go outside and venture out, as these storms have been packing a punch all across the region this afternoon. Widespread devastation coming in out of areas of Alabama, including fatalities. So we don't want any of that around South Georgia. That's why we're urging you to heed all warnings, as the storms are very intense, and particularly now in the evening, as you cannot see anything outside. These storms are rain wrapped, as we are continuing with moderate to heavy rainfall along the squall line that is entering southwest Georgia with a strong to severe storms. Now, once again, a tornado warning. It covers the far western areas of Early County, and that is just outside of Blakely. And also we have tornado warnings covering areas of Randolph County stretching into Terrell County, northern Calhoun County. These storms are possible tornadoes in those areas, but Coleman, Edison, Morgan, all included in tornado warnings right now, while a large area included in severe thunderstorm warning. So still holding on to severe weather at...
We'll come back to WABC It'll be in Albany in just a few moments as we continue with the new tornado warning now for Wayne County in Georgia until 6:30 Eastern Time. In the meantime, let's go back over to continuing coverage of severe weather from WSB TV in Atlanta.
That is a freeze watch that's out for parts of Alabama. Could see some freezing temperatures there as we get back into the growing season. That's primarily for farmers. Dealing with some heavy rain moving through Milledgeville right now on our Storm Tracker 2 HV radar. There you see it, just clobbering Milledgeville. Very heavy rain now sailing off toward Augusta. We do see some stronger storms still in South Georgia, and these are two different types. We have supercell thunderstorms that are ongoing here just to the south of this area, more or less approaching the Georgia coast now. These are these little kidney bean-shaped storms, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they are the ones that really produce these significant tornadoes. In behind that, we see numerous severe thunderstorm warnings here, and these are for straight line winds. You can actually see the segments being bowed out. Watch this one right there. See that bow? That's the wind just pushing that storm out. So these are probably on the order of 50, 60 mile per hour straight line winds going along with that. They can do a significant amount of damage as well in a larger area, exactly. Now, across northern Georgia, I showed you this as we got into Friday afternoon and evening. The barbs here, these wind particles, are about 5,000 feet high. They're about 50 to 60 miles per hour. They're adding a tremendous amount of fuel and also some shear to these thunderstorms. That's what really enhanced the thunderstorms to produce the tornadoes this afternoon across the middle and south Georgia. So again, those are moving away. Now we're starting to see some more warnings evolve for parts of South Carolina. Meteorologist Brad Nitz tracking some of those and looking ahead what's going to be happening in North Georgia this evening as the colder air arrives in North Georgia. Brad?
So we've been rightfully focused quite a bit on the severe weather threat over the last few days, and you may recall we were talking about the big drop in temperatures that will follow the severe weather threat with this cold front that's moving through. So here's a live look outside now, one of our many tower cams across Metro Atlanta and North Georgia. This is from Freedom Parkway, so we're looking west towards the downtown skyline, right side of your screen, and you see the midtown skyline, and what we're looking at now is an overcast sky. The rain has come to an end. We're 61 degrees, very muggy, of course, with the north-northwest wind, and officially at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, a little over 1 1/10 inches of rainfall. Forecast calls for clearing, drying, and much colder temperatures in the days ahead. This is going to be a dramatic change coming just within the next few hours. So 7 o'clock this evening, mid-50s, the last of those showers and thunderstorms continue to move completely out of our area, impacting South Carolina and South Georgia. By 8 o'clock this evening, 52 and a mostly cloudy sky. Becoming partly cloudy in spots by 11 o'clock, already down into the upper 30s around Blairsville at 11 p.m. And then overnight and into tomorrow morning, look at these temperatures drop under a clearing sky, near freezing or just below in far north and northwest Georgia, mid-30s in town, but it's going to be breezy as well. So we're going to see the skies clear, the clouds move out, mostly sunny, cool, and windy right on through the day. Morning lows, 35 in town. We're going to be upper 20s to near 30 around Blairsville. And then highs tomorrow don't even make it out of the 40s. Our morning lows recently have been warmer than this. Afternoon highs 45, average high is 61 degrees this time of year. In addition to the mid-40s, we're talking about winds 20 to 25 miles an hour through the afternoon. Here's what's going on. Fairly mild temperatures moving out today. Tomorrow and Tuesday, colder air builds in, and we'll be in this chilly weather pattern right on through the work week. Here's how it breaks down your 5-day forecast. No rain. We get an opportunity to dry out for the next 4 days. It'll be mostly sunny, cool and windy tomorrow, breezy on Tuesday. Look at morning lows in the 20s Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday morning. By Friday, we're back to highs in the upper 50s, and we'll have a few scattered showers around your rain chance on Friday at 40%. With the weekend always a view, looking way ahead towards the next weekend. Looks like some scattered showers possible Saturday, better rain chances on Sunday, back into the upper 60s.
Live now to Talbot County. Meteorologist Katie Walls is checking out the damage down there, the tornado damage to county northeast of Columbus. What have you found so far, Katie?
It's absolutely devastating to say. When you come onto a scene like this, it's really hard not to get emotional. So right here you can see this house was completely wiped off of its foundation, and thank God the residents I've spoken with here, they were all fine. And then if you look over here, I'm told there were 2 mobile homes, and again, thank God that nobody was inside, but those mobile homes just were completely demolished. You look down there, you can see the house that was taken off its foundation, indicative of a very large tornado that came through here. We knew that it was a large tornado. We had that confirmed. That's why that tornado warning, of course, was issued, not only for here in Talbot County, but then also continuing into Upson County. And by the way, the Upson County emergency manager told me that some 20 miles away, a piece of roof debris from here in Talbot County went all the way into Upson County. It traveled 20 miles because of how powerful this tornado was. So still a lot of crews here on this scene. They're actually still performing search and rescues in all of these homes and everywhere that's been devastated, trying to make sure that people are okay. If you go farther down, you can't even, there are a lot of roads that are still impassable. So if you are traveling to this area, my advice, come this way only if you absolutely must. If you live here, if you have loved ones here, the community is out in full regalia, trying to make sure that their neighbors are okay. But at this point, it's just a lot of emotion, a lot of folks saying how grateful they are to be alive. But overall, it's just a devastating scene knowing that a large tornado came through here in Talbotton, in Talbot County. I'm live in Talbotton. Severe Weather Team 2 meteorologist Katie Walsh, Channel 2 Action News.
Definitely so bittersweet there. You see the devastation, but thank goodness lots of people out there alive.
Yeah, okay. We'll be right back.
And that was the very latest from WSB TV, getting a first-hand look now of the devastation in Georgia as we brought it to you live on air, warning you in Talbotton there that a very dangerous tornado was on the ground headed toward Talbotton, and now we're getting the first-hand pictures there of what appears to be a large tornado went through Talbotton this afternoon, and there's absolute devastation everywhere. People walking around. Luckily, so far we have no reports of any fatalities or injuries from Talbotton, but again, this is still early, and again, this has just been a absolutely devastating tornado outbreak this afternoon in Georgia and Alabama. 2 people dead in Alabama and Lee County as a large tornado went through there. And this tornado outbreak that occurred today, of course, it is tornado season here in Georgia. We're at the prime time for that now. But it was just absolutely, and we was expecting the worst of it to be in central and southern Georgia. But when it blew up like crazy. It's like someone poured gas on a fire, and it's just absolutely been devastating. Some of these tornadoes may have been anywhere from EF2s, 3s, and 4s. So we got a tornado outbreak today in Georgia and Alabama like they would get in Oklahoma and Kansas and Texas. This very large, destructive tornadoes have went through the state today, and again, mainly in central and southern Georgia. The Atlanta metropolitan Atlanta area and North Georgia was spared, but again, lots of devastation coming in from Alabama and Georgia as a result of these storms. And again, 2 people dead in Lee County, Alabama, and again, it's just some horrible things going on right now in Talbotton, pardon me, with all the damage. We still have active tornado warnings in effect in southwestern Georgia, and for that, let's go back to station WALB out of Albany.
Just to give you some extra bad news, but this week you get to sleep in the dark, at least I do. We've got this tornado warning continuing, 2 tornado warnings that are covering our area, 645, and this one here that comes south and just gets into Seminole County. And again, most of these are now moving more east and northeast. This one's got a little more of a northeast push to it, but they're heading pretty much due east, and we'll be watching that again very closely. We're seeing some signs that the line is moving into our area here in Albany. We'll be moving into Americus right now. It is over towards Dawson, obviously where the tornado warning is. But we'll be watching it move into Lee County, Leesburg, Albany, over towards Newton and Miller County into Colquitt as well. All right, we're going to go to Damon now on the First Alert Weather Desk. He's got a report from Stewart County. So Once he's done with that report, we'll come back with this tornado warning to see if it's expired. So is Damon ready? You got a thumbs up? No, I'll just keep talking.
Yeah, we have gotten a report from Stewart County about 2 or 3 houses have been damaged from this storm. Also up on my map, as you can see behind me, I've got Georgia Power's outage map. Anywhere from Tifton, east of Tifton, we've got around 400 power outages, actually 540 power outages. If you go down to Valdosta, it looks like 847 power outages at the moment. We've also received a lot of video from viewers who have showed us some of the things that they've seen. We've had a lot of hail, quarter size. People have been holding in their hands. Let me see if I can get a video up here for you that I saw earlier. It's been pretty constant and consistent, as you heard from Chris and Yolanda. Let's see if we can take a look at one of those videos. I don't know how clear it'll be, but we'll give it a shot. So this one came from Douglas, and I don't know if you can see, but this whole yard here is literally covered in hail. And so what we've been advising people all day is to make sure that you stay put. Do not go outside if you don't have to. Make sure that you have a safety plan in place for you and your family, as it can really be bad and damaging to not only you but your property as well. So just stay put. Again, like I said, we've heard that over in Enigma there's about 518 power outages going on right now. If you continue to look at the screen, we have multiple storm damage and storm clouds that have formed earlier. And like I said, it's been pretty consistent. We haven't seen it let up here and in multiple areas throughout the South Georgia area. But we're going to continue to follow up on this report coming out of Stewart and other counties as well. And until then, we'll get back with you. Back to you all.
Yeah, thanks, Damon. Of course, we are continuing with the threat force